Yes. Welcome back to another stream. Look at this. 2 streams in 2 or 3 days or something like that. But either way, we're here. I told you we'd be going live more. I do want to make more videos though, because I like making the short style videos. But listen, we're live. We're going to talk about a few things. You see the title and the pictures going on screen now. You got Mbappe, we got Gvardiol. We're going to talk a bit about David Silva retiring and just reminisce the good times we had with Dave. What else is there going on in the world right now? Mainly Mbappe. I want to talk about Mbappe and Gvardiol because, you know, Gvardiol, we're trying to get him as Man City. We're trying to get him. And then Mbappe because I just find that story really, really interesting. Listen, there's 23 in the building. Who's in the chat now? We got Chrome Abyss, Mojis. If you're in the chat and you're watching, say hello or something and I'll give you a shout out. But just smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. The last live did great numbers. So massively appreciate all of your support. So just keep hitting the like button, free to do. And if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Linny MCFC, I am Guardiola. Martin Mohensen says hello. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my friend. Ben Yedder, not getting Mbappe. We're going to have a chat about that. Ferran, this Gvardiol thing is becoming irritating now. I agree, mate, Ferran. I fully agree. I'm getting a bit bored of this. Chrome Fabrizio has caused me great sadness this week. So are you saying there, Chrome, that Fabrizio is the reason? Is he the sole reason to your sadness? Is he the sole reason that Gvardiol may not become the City? Glendon, sup Hugh? What's up, Glendon, my friend? Good to see you. Just all smash the like button. Everybody, it's like I said, free to do. Helps myself and Joe massively. And subscribe if you are new around here. But Kylian Mbappe, what a guy! Yeah, what a guy. He's the story of the summer every summer for the last few years. You know, he's leaving, he's staying, he's leaving, he's staying. He owns the club. He wants more of the club. He wants the keys to the house. He wants the keys to the car. He wants to steal your missus. He wants everything, man. And he was given everything. And it still looks like he's going to leave PSG, or at least there's definitely some sort of gymnastics going on. There's some games going on between PSG and Mbappe. They're trying to put pressure on him. He's putting pressure on them. JC, hello, Hugh. More power, mate. Big up, JC. Megan, Francisca rocks. You've added Francisca. Big up. Cancelo to stay as a winger. No. Mbappe to City. Right, Mbappe. Let's see what the latest report's saying, Joe, and let's have a chat about Kylian Mbappe. As a footballer, love Kylian Mbappe. Love him. Will go on to be one of the greatest of all time. As a personality, don't know the guy. Can't say I've ever met him. Can't say I've ever had a drink with him or about to eat or anything like that. But he comes across a bit like a knobhead. Don't know him. You know, you don't know what people are actually like. Don't judge a book by its cover. Comes across a bit like a knobhead. So let's see where we're at, Joe, yeah? The first report that I wanted to talk about was one that I had here for us, Joe. And this comes from excuse me, I just had my dinner. Defense Central. PSG are preparing to offer Kylian Mbappe a 10-year contract worth over 1 billion euros. Billion, that is. B. The Emir of Qatar himself has given the green light on the deal. So that was just the first report. And that seemed like wow. Just wow, first of all. We'll talk about that in a second. And then another one you had for me here, Joe, was from Fabrizio. You guys will all have seen these reports, but I want to have a chat about it. Understand PSG consider Mbappe for sale starting from today. This was yesterday, Joe, wasn't
it? It was either yesterday or the day before. It's very recent.
In the last 48 hours anyway, PSG consider Mbappe for sale. PSG feel Kylian Mbappe wants to leave for free in 2024. He did not communicate anything yet, despite Khelafi's public statement. PSG decided to exclude Kylian Mbappe from Japan tournament. So Kylian Mbappe did not travel to Japan with PSG. That's quite big fucking news in its own right. But before we get on to the next piece, Joe, what are your thoughts on that? I know he's got offers from Saudi Arabia as expected, but what are your thoughts on, I suppose, the whole Mbappe thing so far?
I mean, like you said, he's basically PSG's answer to our Bernardo Silva. Like, he's constantly in the headlines. Is he staying? Is he going? You know, when is his move to Real Madrid going to happen? Because it just feels inevitable. At some point, he will play for Real Madrid because that's what he wants to do. And it seems like he has his heart set on it. But at the same time, it's not as easy as just saying he wants to play for Real Madrid, so he will play for Real Madrid, because there's the slight issue of he's on a ridiculous amount of money right now, and he kind of wants to stay on that money, at least for the remainder of his PSG contract. But PSG are like, nah, we don't want to lose you for free, so we want to sell you now, but you'd have to take a pay cut. And there's so many things happening right now that it's hard to really say exactly, like actually think about what is going to happen. I genuinely, I don't think I could give an answer that I would be confident in saying, yeah, I think this is going to happen, because it's that big profile of a deal and that confusing with, you know, given the circumstances, that I have no idea what is going to happen with this one. This could take weeks. This could take, you know, this could take all year. This might not be resolved this season. He might just end up going for free, and then it's just a big waste of time with all these rumours. But we don't know that yet. I mean, there's so much information going on right now. It's constantly developing, this Mbappe story. It's hard to keep on top of it. I feel like I know quite a bit about this situation, but I don't know everything, because again, there's so many different journalists from both sides coming out with so much different information that I don't really know where to start, to be honest. I mean, the first piece of news was the whole 1 billion over 10 years, which is, you know, crazy money.
Crazy.
It's absolutely mental numbers, but it doesn't surprise me that PSG would offer something like that, because they did something very stupid with his current contract, and they gave him the keys to the club and all of this money, and now he wants out, and they're stuck in this situation. And it kind of just hits home the whole, no player is bigger than the club. You can't treat a player and, you know, let them act like they are bigger than the club, because then you get something like this happens. You end up with egg on your face and you're stuck in an impossible situation. So I feel like that's where we're at, where this is like almost like a big learning curve for PSG in terms of a club. They are the flashy boys. They are the ones that spend countless amounts of money trying to win a Champions League, like we have done, but we've gone and done that. PSG have failed spectacularly and continue to fail, even with some of the best players in Europe. So, they're going to have to take notes away from this and go, you can't give a player, essentially let a player be the manager, the owner, the chairman, the captain, the vice captain. You can't let a player have all these roles and all this money, because it's not going to end well.
Yeah, listen, 50 people in the building and only 30 likes. So if you haven't smashed the like button, smash it already, and it helps massively. But the thing with this Mbappe deal is, it's so new. I don't mean like the saga is new, because the saga's going on for years, but we've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen this level of weird interactions and toxicity between a club and a player because of how high profile Kylian Mbappe is. It blew my mind last year. It blew my mind when the word came out that essentially they were giving Kylian Mbappe PSG. He was going to, unofficially own PSG because they were that desperate to keep a hold of him. It almost seemed like a thing more of pride. You know, they didn't want to lose out to Real Madrid. They didn't want Real Madrid to come and take their centerpiece, the spearhead of their team. So they were like, no, we're going to give him whatever it takes just to keep him, even if that means giving him way more than we should give him. And I was like, this is a really big red flag. And then you get a few weeks ago, Al Khalifi or whoever, one of the PSG officials saying, no player is bigger than the club. No player is bigger than the club, yada, yada, yada. You could have fucking said that 12 months ago, mate. If I was a PSG fan, I'd be fucking livid. I'd be absolutely livid right now. I'd be saying, why are the club allowing this little shithouse who, yes, he's a terrific footballer, but why is he allowed this level of, treatment, luxury treatment and power over our club just because he's that good at football? There's nobody in the world good enough at football, past or present, that I would allow to have that level of dominance and assert their dominance on Manchester City. I don't care if you're offering me prime Messi, prime Ronaldo, prime Pele. The club is way more important. If Haaland was behaving like this at Man City, I'd say just get rid of him, cut the losses. PSG to lose, I get it's massively embarrassing to lose Mbappe, who's a massive asset, on a free. They obviously right now they're in panic stations. They don't want to get to 2024. Mbappe's free to go, and they don't get a penny for arguably the best player in world football right now. But come on. Do you know what I mean? Come on, you can't allow him to own the club like this. You really can't. And that brings us on to our next report. This comes from RMC Sport. They say PSG will accept Al Hilal's bid of 200 million euros. 200 million smackaroonies if Kylian Mbappe doesn't extend his contract by July 31st. So this is the first sign of PSG saying, you know what, fuck you, Kylian. Fuck you, mate. You're not going to own our club like this. We're going to tell you what's what. We're going to set you the deadline of July 31st. And if you do not make up your mind or extend your contract, we will accept the offer from Al Hilal. Now, does that mean Kylian Mbappe would jet off to Al Hilal? That's a whole different tin of worms. Would Kylian Mbappe leave European football having never won the Champions League? I mean, all Kylian Mbappe has ever won is at club level anyway. I know at international level the fuck is a World Cup winner, but at club level, League One or League One, and probably whatever the equivalent of the French Cups are. So he's not exactly majorly established at European football level, is he? He hasn't gone to one of Europe's major leagues and took over and dominated the way Erling Haaland has. To be fair to him, Erling Haaland left Germany, which is one of the top leagues, but he came to the top league and absolutely tore it apart. 52 goals in all competitions, broke records left, right, and centre. Mbappe, we all know by the eye test and by what he has done at international level and the glimpses you see at Champions League level that Kylian Mbappe is a generational level footballer. But I'm sorry, I'm not willing to put him up there with the big names in football history, the big names, until you come and do it, mate. Come and do it. Win a Champions League. Go to one of the top 5 leagues. And do it there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here bashing on Mbappe saying he's a poor footballer. I know he's terrific, but I really, really want to see it in the Premier League. Even go to the Liga, fair enough. Go to Real Madrid. Bayern Munich. It's a bit of Farmers League too, but you get what I'm saying. You get the premise. At least the Bundesliga shits on the French league, so that's kind of where I'm at with Mbappe. But yeah, man, Joe, this July 31st cutoff thing is kind of the first sign of PSG losing their tether with Mbappe, and it's probably a bit late in the day for that.
It was far too late in the day. They've already given him all of these promises and all this cash, and then when it's been thrown back in their face, they've gone, right, well, off you pop then. I mean, again, like you said, they could have done this much earlier. They could have gone, we know you're great, and we know that you're going to be one of the, if not at some point the best player in world football at some point in your career, but we can't just be giving you exactly what you want and letting you run the club. They can't do they simply just cannot do that. It's not feasible for a football club to be run like that, where you get a player calling the shots and basically getting what they want. And then again, you look at it as in the fact that he didn't get to call all the shots as well. Like, they promised him all of these things like signings, etc., and he ended up just getting really frustrated because, again, I go back to this point all the time of he didn't want to play through the middle. He didn't want to play through the middle to accommodate Neymar and Messi. He didn't want to do that. That was not something that that he wanted. And I presume that when they went into these contract negotiations and gave him everything, they promised him that they would play him off the left, or they'd sign a number 9 who they'd be able to play off, and that just never happened. It almost feels like PSG kind of dug their own grave a little bit. They didn't do themselves any favors, at least anyway. So I'm not surprised it's coming out this way, but at the same time, I don't know how you resolve this, because this has happened for the last couple of years now, where it's like Mbappe wants to leave because he's unhappy with PSG, and PSG are going to try and throw a lot of money at him and see if they can convince him to stay for another year. But I think this year you're looking at, I'd say, the end. I do agree with your point in his legacy will not be as high as it could be if he stays in France his whole career, because it's just a weaker league. It just is. PSG win the league pretty much every year. They've got the most money. They've got more money than any club by far in that league. They walk away with it. The only real reputation he gets in terms of, building his reputation up is through, winning a World Cup. That did wonders for him, winning an international trophy, or winning the Champions League, which PSG just fail at time and time again. So I think a change of scenery would do him good. He'd be remembered a lot more fondly. Not saying that, again, we're not saying that he's going to go and be forgotten or anything because he didn't leave France, but if he wants to be remembered as one of the greats of football just in the entire history of the sport, then I'd say he needs to get a move on and just leave for something else, a more competitive league. Obviously the Liga is very, very, very dominated by 2 clubs, usually Real Madrid and Barcelona. Atletico Madrid have sort of kind of got close a few times now and then, but still more competitive than Ligue 1. So I think he needs to leave, and I do think the Saudi interest in there it was going to happen. They were going to try, at least try. I think that's the thing that you could count on, is that they were going to try, at least do something, because there's no harm in trying to get a player like Mbappe when you've got the funding that Saudi Arabia do. And I think the report is from RMC Sport, which I also saw, I think another report from them saying that, you know, the plan is if Al Hilal's bid was accepted and Mbappe was to enter negotiations, they were basically going to tell him that they'd sign him, they'd pay him his PSG wage packet for the year, and then they'd let him go to Real Madrid. I think that was the sort of idea that would, they'd hope that would convince Mbappe to sign for them for at least a year, with the knowledge that, you know, he's going to be on the same wages as he was at PSG. He gets out of an unhappy situation that he was in, and he still gets to go to Real Madrid after that year. So I think that's the report I saw anyway, and I wouldn't entirely rule it out. I just think it's highly unlikely that he just leaves Europe, at least even for like a year. I just think he doesn't leave Europe, because the one thing he's chasing is the Champions League. I don't think he'd leave anytime soon.
I'd be disappointed if he left Europe. I'd be very disappointed. But listen, we're going to talk about in a second. I want to keep talking about Mbappe, and we're going to talk about the possibility of. I get City aren't going to go for Mbappe, but I want to talk about the logistics and whether people would take Mbappe at City, because I know most of you are City fans. But listen, there's 65 in the building. Just do me a favor, smash the like button, get the likes up, free to do. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And Joe, if you do me a favor, stick a poll in the chat saying, would you take Mbappe at City, and a yes or a no. Big up Anakin Skywalker with the £1.99. That's the first super chat in a long, long time. Massively appreciate every single person who ever sends in a super chat. You don't understand how much it helps us, myself and Joe, keep the lights on, pay the electricity bills, put food on the table for the kids and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? The kids need to eat. So you're helping massively. But listen, if you don't want a super chat, just hit the like button. Massively appreciate it. He says, Hugh, if we sign a winger, who would you want? Ooh, Anakin, this is a question that we talk about on City Extra. I'm sure you're probably a subscriber over there a lot. I know we've been linked with Dani Olmo, Rafinha. If I had my own way, like if you're just talking like dream signings, give me Vinicius. Every single time, give me Vinicius. But that ain't happening. In terms of who's attainable, I'd love Leroy Sané. I don't want Rafinha. I don't want, Dani Olmo. There's not many available, Anakin, is there? Joe, who would you take if you had your pick of any?
It's too difficult a question, because, like you said, there's no one. Like I like the idea in principle of. No, I'm probably gonna get shouted at for this, but I'm used to being shouted at for terrible opinions, so I'm going to say it anyway. I really, really, really do like Elise from Crystal Palace. I really do think there's something about him that I just really, really like. But I also have my concerns. He's very young, so he'd be a project player, which is not something that I think we'd necessarily want to really be a part of, is having to develop a player. I think we're in a win now stage, especially given the age of some of the players in our squad, and the fact we just come off a treble where you need to maximise your window of opportunity for winning trophies. So I don't know whether a young player is that way to go. We all know that it's going to take a year for that player, whoever we sign, if we sign anyone, it's going to take a year for that player to get, embedded in the system anyway, so you're writing off a year. And the thing is with Elise is he has his injury problems. The man is constantly injured. Like, every time I see him, he's usually picking up an injury. So I'd love the idea. It's something that I just love him as a player. I love watching someone like Elise, but I don't know whether he's even like a Pep sort of player. We know he doesn't really want, these out-and-out wingers per se. He wants more like midfielder type wingers who are going to hold onto the ball. So I mean, my biggest fear at the moment is going into next season and Pep just going, yeah, Sergio Gomez, you are our backup right winger. I know he did well on the wing in the under-21 Euros, but it's slightly terrified me to go from Mahrez to Sergio Gomez.
Yeah, I get that. So Elise, Anakin Skywalker says in the chat there as well that his would be Elise too. I've seen a lot of City fans calling for Elise. I like Elise, and I believe he was in the City Academy when he was younger. I'm 99% sure. So there's a bit of a link there. But there doesn't seem to be any like real links. There's no journalists saying that we're in for Elise. But I do like him, Anakin. I do like him. I suppose my answer, I know it's a dream, but it's never going to happen. But Vinicius would be for me. But I'm supposed to replace Mahrez. Maybe Sané. What are the chat saying? You put the poll in, Joe, did you? I
did, yeah. It's currently going. I think it might surprise you a little bit if you take a look at the poll.
I'll have a look after we've had a bit of a chat about it because I can't see it on mine at the minute because I'm on the main account. But yeah, Mbappe, right? So Mbappe, the thing is with PSG and Mbappe, I knew PSG were pussies. I knew they were pussies way back from the time when they signed Neymar because they went down a route in terms of transfers with Neymar that I had never seen before. And I was like, you guys are selling your souls and setting a really bad precedent for future signings, which it has set a bad precedent for Kylian Mbappe. The thing with Neymar was when they signed him, yes, they gave Neymar massive wages, they paid massive bucks to Barcelona, but they started doing things like they gifted Neymar a 5-star hotel in Paris. Neymar owns a 5-star hotel in Paris, and they just gifted this to him as part of like his either it's part of his contract or else it's just like a gift, thanks for coming kind of thing. But when you start doing things like that and giving players things that are outside of football or beyond being a player at football, like with Mbappe giving him the keys or some sporting director role or officials role, board, executive role, you're making yourself as a club look really fucking soft. You know what I mean? You're setting down really bad precedents. You're setting bad examples, and Mbappe's took advantage of that. Zagon here with the £2. Big up for the super chat. Zagon says, "Is this Yeremy Pino the real deal?"
He plays for Villarreal. He played. The only thing I know about him is I think it's Villarreal anyway. He plays in Spain, and he's a winger. But again, the only thing I know about him is similar to, who was it that someone mentioned someone else the other day, Cherky. The only thing I know about him is based off of like FIFA or Football Manager. I've never seen him kick a ball in real life. So, and I'm also like 99% sure he's the exact type of player that Pep just doesn't want. I'm pretty sure he's a fast direct winger, which is something that just isn't going to happen. But I don't know, man. I know he's a young player and he's Spanish, so that fits in well with Pep's love of Spanish players. So I don't know, but I've never seen him kick a ball. I just know that he's fairly highly rated.
I tell you what, Zagon, big up for the super chat. Pitch Yeremy Pino in the chat to me. Tell me a bit about Pino, what you like about Pino. I'll read out your message and I'll make a judgment without even seeing the guy. But you will sell him to me. If I like what you say, I'll get on board the Yeremy Pino train. But Mbappe to City. How would that work? What would it cost us? Would we be selling our souls? Would it piss off Haaland? Would he piss off Pep? Is this something City would ever even consider? Now, this is no clickbait because I am not telling you that there's any links. I'm not sitting here telling you City are in for Mbappe or they want Mbappe or there's any links. I'm just talking about a hypothetical universe. Is there a world where Kylian Mbappe could be at the Etihad Stadium wearing a Man City shirt playing against Burnley in a couple of weeks' time? Yeah? Or I know that's away. Sorry, it's a Turf Moor, isn't it? It's a Turf Moor. Is Mbappe someone that you guys in the chat would like to see at City? Is he someone I would like to see at City? Is he someone Joe would like to see at City? Let's have a bit of a chat about that because there's pros. There's massive pros to Kylian Mbappe. The guy is lethal. He's an absolute assassin. The guy scores goals. He's direct. He's aggressive. He's techie. He's skillful. One of the best in the business. Now, con number one. He's a dickhead. Yeah, that's con number one. He's a bit of a prick. Yeah, he's a bit of a prick. He's got an ego. Pep don't like egos. The last ego we dealt with, we shipped him off to Bayern Munich for 6 months, and now he's back with us. Con number two. Pep don't play with wingers like that. Yeah, what you're saying about Yeremy Pino there is that he's one of these fast-paced, grass-burning wingers. That's Mbappe. Pep prefers the wingers who ball retain, pause at football, keep it moving, be patient, side to side. Ain't no Mbappe there. Mbappe don't do pause at. Alexa's about to start shouting at me. Shush, Alexa. We're talking about Mbappe. That's con number two with Mbappe. Back to pros. He'd bang goals, wouldn't he? He'd bang goals. He has a hunger to win the Champions League. He's never won the Champions League. He couldn't deliver it for Paris, his hometown club. We right now are the best fit for him to win the Champions League. There's nobody more equipped to win the Champions League than us right now. Add his goals, you give us a pretty good chance. Con number three. He scores more goals than any of our wingers do right now. Grealish, as much as I love him, he don't score enough goals. Mahrez gone. Foden, he was scoring lots of goals the first half of last season. He got his injuries, so we don't know him as like a prolific hot streak goal scorer just yet, even though I think it will come. Mbappe adds that. There's 2 or 3 pros and cons there. But I think the big con, I didn't touch it on it enough, but the big con is he's a dickhead. And sorry, con number 4. Haaland and Mbappe, the brands, we've talked about this a lot, Joe. You don't want to have both brands together. They don't want both their brands together. It's within the interest of Haaland and Mbappe to always compete against each other for Europe's top honours, whether it's Champions League, Ballon d'Ors, or, yada, yada, yada. It would be difficult to see them playing together. Anyways, talk to me. Joe, Mbappe to City, it would obviously cost an arm and a leg, but tell me, what do you think?
For one, I'm going to say right now, he's an absolutely unbelievable player. Would I take him? Absolutely, I would. I mean, I think you'd be sort of stupid not to, but it's never going to happen. Never going to happen in a million years because of all the negative reasons, I think. For as good as, in theory, it sounds on the pitch, you're looking at a lot of off-the-pitch problems. And problems that are not easily solved or that cannot be solved, such as things like wages and image rights and players' egos clashing, etc., etc. So it's never going to happen. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm against it at all if it were to happen. I think that I'd like to see us at least try. I'd like to see us at least try and see if we can get him, just because there's no harm in not trying. Like, it's not like we're lacking cash or anything, or, he fits a quite obvious hole that we have in our current squad, which is in the wing positions, in the forward positions. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no, but it's never going to happen. I'm not expecting anything out of this. There's been no links. The only link that I could possibly get even close to was I saw one. I think it was from RMC Sports again, but I'm not sure. It was a source. It could have been Sky. I don't know. But it was saying that obviously Real Madrid and Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia, they're interested. And there's Chelsea and one unnamed English club, which, I mean, it could be us. It's unnamed. Who knows who it is? I don't think it's us, but I mean, it could be. You never know. It's unnamed. So I'd like to see us try, but it's not going to happen. But for me, I get it. I understand it. I wouldn't be like going all out for Mbappe or anything. I think it would cause problems eventually. For as good as it is on the pitch, when you look at it purely from a standpoint of, we're looking at Amara's replacement in a saturated winger market. We know we're not going to get a player who's as good or who is going to match the output of Amara's. Mbappe, 100% he'd clear Amara's output, but again, he doesn't really fit in the tactical system. He comes with an ego and a baggage. He'll want to be one of the highest paid players at the club, if not the highest paid player, which would cause issues for some of the other players who are already here. And again, like you said, he's a bit of an arsehole, so who knows how long he'd last under Pep. We know Pep isn't the best at egos, considering what happened with Cancelo, considering what happened with Sane when he left the club. He doesn't have like the best of times dealing with people with huge egos through the roof who expect the world. So no, it's not going to happen. But again, I'm not against it. I feel like I'd be stupid to say no. I don't want Kylian Mbappe. I feel like it's silly to even suggest not wanting him. But I don't have to think about any of that, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty certain, I am 99% sure that we won't even go anywhere near him. But I'd like to see us try.
I want those poll results in a second, off you, Joe. Zagon, to be fair to him, has come back here with the Jeremy Pino. Inside, he says, he's young, fast, silky, great ball control, can score any goal and can assist from any position. Is super strong for his size, and he's got that dog in him. Jeremy Pino, man, I might have to look into that, Zagon. I might have to look into that. Big up Martin from the Mancunian way. Says, please no Mbappe, not that ego. I think that's kind of what Joe is going over there. And Martin says, hey, Hugh, how are you, buddy? I'm good, Martin. I'm good. I'm buzzing to see City back tomorrow. I assume all of you are buzzing to see City back tomorrow. We'll have to get you on the channel here sometime soon, Martin, and just have a good chat. We kind of just chat bollocks, myself and Joe here, on whatever's going on in the world. And there's good people in the chat here as well all the time. We had 70 in the building there a second ago. If you would do me a favor and just smash the like button. I keep asking because it really, really, really does help, and it's free to do. I'd never ask anybody to send in super chats or anything that would cost money, but hitting the like button is free to do, so you can do that for free, and it massively, massively helps us. And subscribe if you're new around here. Martin says, Mbappe to Madrid stops them getting Haaland, think long term. Well, this is something we've gone over a few times. and I kind of touched on there a second ago, Martin, that Mbappe and Haaland, like I said, it's not within their interest to play together ever. They should not play together ever. You know, you look at Ronaldo and Messi, it kind of worked so well because there was always this debate. Who's better? Who's the best? You know, this one got more goals that season. This one's got more Ballon d'Ors. This one has more Champions Leagues. Then obviously the debate got put to bed when Messi went and won the World Cup. But the reason that rivalry worked so well for so long is because one played for Barca, one played for Madrid. Rivals going head-to-head for leagues, going head-to-head for Champions Leagues, head-to-head for individual honours. And it boosted both of their profiles. It did. Whether you like it or not, yes, both of them being terrific footballers helps them, you know, grow their profiles. But the fact they were going head-to-head meant their profiles were growing. People were talking about these two head-to-head all the time. So Mbappe and Haaland, no doubt their PR teams will be thinking along these lines. And they probably fucking talk to each other about this. Not the players, but their PR team saying, we need to force or, you know, manufacture some sort of a head-to-head here whereby these two are talked about as the big hitters in world football. The Ronaldo-Messi regen. I'm not saying they'll ever hit the heights of Messi and Ronaldo because they're extraordinary heights. But you know what I'm saying? They need to go down that route. So it's not within their interest to play together because they play together. All of a sudden it's, yeah, they're competing for who scores the most goals for City if they were to end up at City, or the most goals at Real Madrid if they end up at Real Madrid. But there's not that cutting edge, you know, versus, head-to-head, clashing skulls kind of thing, clashing horns kind of thing, and fighting it out for Ballon d'Ors. So I think you're right. If we're being selfish, I prefer Mbappe to go to Real Madrid than to come to City. Because if he was to ever come to City, either he would pack up his bags very quickly himself and say, fuck this, because I'm not the main man, or else Haaland would go, right, I'm going to Real Madrid. I would prefer to keep Haaland. From what I can tell about Haaland, and all we've seen of Haaland so far, seems like a good, humble kid. He's got his head screwed on. He's got good people around him. He doesn't demand too much. He wants to focus on his football. And that as fans, makes us feel good. You can see how angry the PSG fans are all the time. They hate Neymar. They didn't like Messi. They hate Mbappe because their club's gone down the shitter. Because these players were deemed to be bigger than the club. Haaland knows he's not bigger than Man City. Rival fans will tell us, you know, Haaland's bigger than Man City. But we know the badge. The badge is the most important thing. The club's the most important thing. And Haaland buys into that. Which is all we can ask for. He knows Pep owns the dressing room. Pep owns that dressing room. You step on Pep's toes, doesn't matter who you are, boom, gone. Shipped off to Bayern for 6 months. Guantanamo Bay thing. You know? So I think that I've kind of gone over it there, and I think you're right, Martin. But go on, Joe, tell me the results. Mbappe to City, what did the chat say?
Well, we have 55 votes, and it is a 64% no.
Wow, 64% of you has said no. There's the final results in the chat now. Mbappe to City, 64% no, 35% yes. If you voted yes, I would like to see, not too long, not like an essay, but give me your reasons why you said yes. Because I think I lean more towards no. It would be hypocritical of me to just give you the big monologue I gave there about the badge being bigger and Haaland buying into that, yada, yada, yada. For me to then go and say, let's go and get the currently most egotistical footballer in the world. That would be hypocritical. So I lean towards no. I'm with the 64% of you. But those of you who voted yes, I would like to know. Gun to your head now, Joe, yes or no?
No, because again, I just look at the bigger picture. So no, I wouldn't be like, if it happened, I'm not going to be upset, but I'd still go no.
So myself and Joe both saying no. It actually feels mad, you know that? The player as good as Mbappe, and we're sitting here saying no. But it's just not as black and white as you're taking in a great footballer or you're trying to get a great footballer. The finances, of course, are one thing, but unfortunately, and I said this about Cancelo on City Extra quite a few times, that if you make a name for yourself in European football as being a dickhead, Cancelo cannot find himself a club right now because he has a name for being a knobhead. If you make a name for being a knobhead, you're not very attractive. If Kylian Mbappe was as good as Kylian Mbappe is, but he was way more humble, did not demand mad wages, did not demand your wife, did not demand your car, did not demand the keys to the house, I'd say, you know what? Kylian Mbappe, yes, go and get him. But unfortunately, you're not dealing with that kind of guy. Now, as I said at the start of the stream, I don't know him personally. Never had a drink with him. Never, watched a movie with him. Never got dinner with him. Don't know him personally. But all I can tell you is, from what I see and what you all see on social media, comes across a bit of a knobhead. So we don't need knobheads at City. We just binned one off in January, and he's back with us now in Cancelo. So that's Mbappe for you. 64% say no. Me and Joe say no. But he's for sale. So I will keep tabs on the saga of Kylian Mbappe, because, like I said, it's really unique. We've never seen anything like this before in football transfer history. So no doubt we'll do more streams as it unfolds. Could City join the race out of nowhere? Who knows? Anyway, Gvardiol. Let's talk a bit about Gvardiol for a sec. We'll stay live for another 20 minutes or so. I wanted to have a good chat about Mbappe. I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed all of you guys in the chat giving your input. Do you think Mbappe will go to Saudi? I hope not, Charlie. I hope not. Gvardiol, Joe, what is the latest on Gvardiol? What is the latest?
The latest that I have seen, as there's been no updates from the likes of Fabrizio Romano or anyone like that, is Tommy's hairdo, the infamous Tommy's hairdo. If anybody here knows or has watched City Extra and knows the Blue Mood form, it's grown quite popular over the last few years in terms of transfer news. From one man in particular, Tommy's hairdo. He's always been a man for, he claims he's in the know. I don't know how in the know he is. I can't say I've ever paid too much attention to the Blue Moon forum. I don't think I've ever even touched the website, to be honest. So I don't know how much stuff he's got right in the past. I don't know how much stuff he said in the past about transfers. So I don't know. I'm led to believe, with that little hand gesture there as well, that he's a little bit mixed. He's got some right, some wrong. So, he's a bit hit or miss, is what I'm led to believe. But in his piece of information, the latest on Gvardiol is that, Leipzig are very unhappy about the fact that Romano came out and said the deal was done and there was a medical going on, and now they want a bit more cash. Now, I don't know whether it was a bit more in terms of a total package or a bit more in terms of just upfront. I can't remember which way it was worded. I might go and find it. But all I remember seeing is it was roughly about, I think he said £15 million more. But again, I don't know whether that was £15 million more just in general or £15 million more in the upfront payment. So let me go and find that. He also said, there was one that he said today, which was Gvardiol's convinced that this is going to happen. He wants it to happen. He's even texted, I think it was Kovacic, saying that he was happy about it. So it's so messy, it's unreal. We kind of touched about how messy it was. It was unbelievable. But I wonder if I can find it.
I'm getting frustrated with it, Joe. I can't lie. I'm getting frustrated with it. I still think it's going to happen. Chat, tell me, in terms of percentages, 0 to 100, where are you at percentage-wise that City will get the deal done? Because the more this drags out, I get we're not in a rush to get him. We're like, in terms of centre halves, like we're pretty stacked for centre half. We're not in a rush to get him. But the more it drags on, and the more I see things that Leipzig are frustrated and pissed off, the more I'm kind of go, City could walk away. Charlie says, do you see City walking away? If what Joe was saying is true, I think that Tommy said that Leipzig are now asking for more money. This is where you start getting into territory of City walking away. City have their valuations. They will go up as high as that valuation. And if you start asking for more money over that valuation, City will walk away. Now, were Leipzig asking for this extra money before the Here We Go got leaked? No. So why are they so angry? In my opinion, a deal should have been able to be struck regardless of whether a Here We Go comes or not. At the end of the day, Fabrizio doesn't have any impact on a transfer. He doesn't decide whether the paper gets signed or not. He's just a journalist. He's just a transfer journalist. So why has it pissed off Leipzig so much? Tolmy himself was saying on Blue Moon Forum that Bellingham was done deal way before he went to Real Madrid. He was saying he's done deal to City. And then he goes to Real Madrid. That didn't piss off anybody. So why do they feel they have the right to ask for more money because a transfer journalist has said it's done? Make sense of that, chat. Make sense of that. Leipzig are fucking us about here a little bit, if you ask me. It seems like Gvardiol himself, I tweeted this, He's desperate for the deal to happen. If it's true that he messaged Mateo Kovacic saying, I'm on my way, we know he liked the 4-3-3 post, we know he followed Ruben Diaz followed him back, all these little things. It's quite clear Gvardiol is dying to come to Man City, but Leipzig are being knobheads. I don't know our City, I can't talk on City because we don't know where they are with the negotiations, but if it's just as simple as Leipzig are now asking for more money because of a leaked transfer journalist report, I'm going, what the hell? What the hell? Listen, 90 people in the building. Let's see, can we get over 100 in here for the first time in a long time? So smash the like button. Joe, man, this is a mess, if you ask me. And I don't think we're at this point just yet, but I'm starting to think we're creeping into City walking away territory.
Well, I mean, it smells like it, doesn't it? Because it's nothing new if we do walk away. We've done it before. And we will do it again. If we're not happy about a deal, then we'll go elsewhere and find something else. I mean, that's how we ended up with Ruben Diaz. So it's not like the end of the world, but he has a release clause that kicks in next year, which is, I think, is because he signed a new contract. Oh, I don't know. He was supposed to sign a new contract, then he didn't, and then maybe he did. I don't know at this point, but I know his release clause that kicks in next year is actually higher than the €100 million reported figure that's going around right now. I think it's like 100 and I don't know. It's hard to keep track because it's always changing. Are we going to pay the money? Are we not going to pay the money? Is it a case of Leipzig being annoyed of the reporting, or is it a case of I don't know what they're being so arsy about. They're in no financial struggle. They've just sold Szoboszlai for about 70 million, and they've signed a few players on the top of that. They've already signed a centre-half. They signed a young centre-half from PSG, so they've already got at least positional replacement for, you'd expect, Gvardiol going out the door. So they've already been able to sort a replacement. That's not holding up the deal like everybody thought it was. That was what it was at first, wasn't it? That, the deal was, everything was set and it was all ready to be done, and it was just a case of Leipzig finding a replacement. Well, they found a replacement. Romano tweeted, here we go, and now this is where we're at, where nobody has a Scooby-Doo what's going on. It's very messy, and I'm a bit worried we will pull out of the deal because they're trying to fuck us about. And I did find the tweet saying, I don't know where I got the 15 million figure from, because I can't find that tweet, but I can find the Tommy's Head tweet about Red Bull are not asking for more money, but in terms of how much is paid up front this summer. So, it seems to be the case that the money that we're willing to pay for him is not, too far away from valuation, or it's exactly at the valuation they're happy to accept. It's like Arsenal with Declan Rice, where Leipzig are just happy with the amount that we want to pay in the first instalment up front in cash. That was what took Arsenal so long to get Declan Rice over the line, was, they tried to pay it in about 4 instalments worth about like 30 million each or something like that. And West Ham were like, hold on, wait a minute. No, that's not how this works. And then they eventually got it done because Arsenal went, yeah, we'll just pay that, whatever. So, I don't know whether City would be willing to do that, because we know that they are willing to walk away. So will they just be willing to, just essentially go, yeah, we'll pay a bit more up front. We want this deal to happen. I don't know whether we will, because we've got a history of walking away from things when, they don't meet our expectations. So I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm not too concerned, because I think that Pep wants him. Pep clearly wants him. He's been hinting at it in his press conference. He said that there's going to be deals happening. There's going to be some movements in the transfer window. So that's got me a little bit excited, because I was getting worried the amount of players that were supposed to be leaving and, the lack of an obvious replacement for most of them. But that's kind of reassured me a little bit that we are working on stuff. And that is obviously the big one of this summer. I mean, he'd come in and he'd be our record. I think he would be our record signing in terms of total transfer package. He'd be the most expensive defender in the world. So it's not like a small thing. It doesn't just get negotiated over like a few days. It will take a while, but they are taking the piss a little bit.
Rachel says Gvardiol needs to put pressure on and put a transfer request in if he is set on City. This is something that crossed my mind earlier on, Rachel. If he is that desperate to get the move, I don't know. Does he respect Leipzig too much that he wouldn't do that? Does he not want to tarnish his relationship with the fans and do that? You don't know, but I would think that, yeah, if Leipzig are being bastards about it, which seems to be my conclusion. I mean, Joe said he can't find the tweet there about the extra 15 million, but I was told, once again, never take me as ITK because I'm not ITK, but I'll always tell you when I hear things. And someone who I trust, same person who told me about, what was it, the Bernardo Silva contract? Yeah, Bernardo Silva contract said that since the Here We Go was leaked, or Fabrizio said Here We Go, Leipzig have asked for another 13 million. And since then, of course, we know publicly Marco Rose, the Leipzig manager, has been speaking as if Josko Gvardiol is going to be their player next year. So maybe you're right, Rachel, man. Maybe he needs to put some pressure on Leipzig. I just don't know. I mean, Martin says, my issue is why spend 12 months on something we always knew? Think we've offered less and they've never changed. But I mean, we always knew what they would want. But what we're talking about here, Martin, is that apparently Leipzig have now asked for more. They've changed their tune. It's very confusing. We really don't know. And, you know, the fact that he went to Italy with Leipzig for preseason suggests to me that it's not as far down the line as we originally thought. You know, Carlos Borges is set to move to West Ham or at least somewhere else, but West Ham seem to be the front runners. He did not travel to Asia. Mahrez, we knew was going to leave. He did not travel to Asia. It seems to be when players are on the brink of a transfer, they don't go off on the preseason tour. So Gvardiol's gone on preseason tour with Leipzig. So my feeling there is that it's not as far down the line as we think. But I'm with you, Martin, in the sense that I'd be disappointed if we did pursue this long to not get our guy, if that makes sense. Like, I think we should get our guy and pull the trigger. If Pep wants him, and we know in or around how much it would cost, if it's a case of squabbling over an extra 10 million, I mean, what's 10 million to us when we have this supposed mega war chest? Get the deal done. You know, give them their extra 10 million. I know it's not my money. It's easy for me to say that, but we have mad money. We've just won a treble, you know, we're mega sponsors and all that, you know, legitimate or illegitimate, you can say what you want. If he's the main target, go and get him. Pep wants him, give him to Pep. Pep wants him, get him his guy. Simple as. That's kind of where I'm at. So I'm just frustrated with the whole thing. I change my mind on it every fucking half an hour at this point. Chrome, I get negotiations, but I still don't understand why City are being so cheap this window. Well, this is the thing with City, man. This is the thing with City. You may think they're being cheap. And at times we like to brag about it, how City will not go over their valuation. But then at times like this, we're going, fuck's sake, just go over your valuation and get the player Pep wants. If Pep wants his player, get him his player. Because he's proved that when you get him his players, he wins fucking trophies. You know, give the trophy winner what he needs. Give him his tools. So it's it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Top of the league, this confusing them to who they need to buy. Rachel, Fabrizio, like Tommy's, ignore the fog. Yeah, I saw that. We're saving for something big in coming years, says Sonson. Drop the mic, Q. Oh, Joe, man. Joe. Gvardiol's doing my head in at this point.
Oh, he's doing my head in as well, because it's like, we can't spend the whole summer focusing on this one transfer because we have other areas that we need to address. We've lost Mahrez. He needs, replacing. We need to focus a little bit on, we think that the latest that we've been hearing is Bernardo Silva's kind of edging towards staying. You need to put a bit of focus towards that. We obviously need to focus on, the winger one's big, and then you've got Kyle Walker, who supposedly still wants to leave and go to Bayern Munich, and that's going to happen when we play them in pre-season. That'll need addressing as well. We'll need to replace him as well. So, if Laporte ends up leaving, we'll need to replace him. That was what Gvardiol was supposed to be doing, but it seems like regardless of what happens there, we'll probably be signing Gvardiol anyway, or we hope to. So we can't just focus an entire summer transfer window on Gvardiol, spend weeks at it, spend months at it, trying to go at it, trying to negotiate and do this and that and penny pinch here and there after having our war chest, and then just walk away with a few weeks left while we still have areas to address, because we can't afford to waste time, because there are areas in the market, we keep talking about this with wingers, there are areas of the market which are very saturated. They don't have a lot of options, especially quality options, to go out and get a replacement. So you need to act act fast, be quick, be smart with your transfer dealings, get it over the line, because you can't afford to delay anything, because, you know, there aren't that many options in certain positions, and if you wait, then those very few options might be gone. So you can't just sit there and go on and on and on with Gvardiol and for it to not happen. You need to either be dead certain that you will eventually come to a compromise and finish it, or walk away. I'll be disappointed if we walk away, but if it means that we go out and do another 2 or 3 pieces of business, then I'll be like, yeah, for the greater good. You know, we left that deal that was taking forever and we were getting nowhere with it, and we ended up doing another few pieces of business that helped us out with our squad and in other areas that we needed to address.
I mean, either way, like, I don't get me wrong, I'm not stressing to the point where I'm like, oh no, and I'm worrying up late at night, you know what I mean, having nightmares. I trust the board that regardless of what happens, we will come out at the end in a good place. I do think we need more signings. I think in terms of depth, the squad is light. We're playing in 6 competitions this year. I think the squad, we don't have enough players to compete in 6 competitions and, you know, defend our treble kind of thing. But look, we'll see what happens with Gvardiol. You mentioned Kyle Walker there briefly. I want to touch on him because I was reading about Kyle Walker this morning. And obviously, Bayern Munich, we're playing them on Wednesday. They are the ones seemingly interested in buying Kyle Walker. You said to me before we went live, Joe, that the reported fee for Kyle Walker is 13 million, 1-3, which is crazy. Even I know he's 33, but he's still a terrific player. I was reading this morning in the hard copy of the paper. For those of you who watched the stream on City Extra earlier on, you already heard this, but I read the physical hard copy of the paper, like an old man that I am, you know. And the word is that, from whatever journalist, he says there is potential friction in this Kyle Walker deal. It's not certain, like it's not as clean cut and plain sailing as you might think, because at Bayern Munich, they have this policy apparently whereby any player over 30 years of age can only get a 1-year contract at a time. They cannot extend their contract at Bayern Munich by more than 1 year at a time. So Bayern have offered Kyle Walker a 2+1 contract. So 2 years on the contract with a potential 1-year extension, option to extend to a 3rd year. And this has spread to the Bayern players, the older players in the camp, this news, and they've gone like, yo, what the fuck? How come we all only get 1-year extensions and this 33-year-old from Manchester is getting a 2+1? So the Bayern players apparently have had words with the hierarchy at Bayern, and it's looking a bit techie, you know? I couldn't see Kyle Walker signing a contract for Bayern that's only 1 year. I couldn't. I don't see him packing his bags to go to Bayern Munich, new country, new league, bring his family with him. He has kids for a 1-year contract? Nah. And I think Bayern know that, which is why they've offered him 2+1. But, you know, that's pissed off their older players. So, interesting, Joe.
I also read this piece of information, but on Twitter and not in the newspaper, because I'm not an old man, not yet. I'm a little bit off that stage, but I did read this information, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing that they did at Bayern Munich. I know it's a thing that we did, and that's why Gundogan walked away and went to Barcelona, because they offered him a longer contract than we did. I think our offer was 1+1. I think Barcelona's was like a set 3 year or a 2+1, a total of 3 years. So, you know, he went for his family stability. I think at the time he just had a child and got married. So he was looking out for his family. So he went for the longer contract option, which is what Walker will probably end up doing. If he leaves, he will look for the longest contract because he has a family to take care of. And that's, you know, the most suitable thing is security in his life and not just a 1 year. But I also understand that, you know, the Bayern players would have a right to feel pissed off about this because, you know, you look at, I saw that same piece of information. It's like, to put it into context, Thomas Muller and Manuel Neuer, 2 Bayern legends, they've been there for ages. Even they weren't offered, you know, more than a year. On their latest contract extensions, they were only offered 1 year. And they're like heroes. They've been there for ages. They've been there and winning all these titles with Bayern Munich. And they weren't exempt. Manuel Neuer, I think he finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or 1 year. He's one of the best keepers to probably ever play football. And he was only offered a 1 year extension because he was in his 30s. And here they are offering Kyle Walker a 2+1 just because they want him. And you touched on it in the last stream that we did as well with Cancelo, that they took him for 6 months and still decided to go for our other fullback, which is embarrassing on his part. So I don't know. I think it's odd, and I also think the 13 million prize point, that was from Sky Sports today. So I'd take it as fairly reliable from Sky Sports, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's that low. I know he's in his 30s, and his game heavily relies on pace, and we know that he's going to slow down eventually and become less effective. But he is a specialist for dealing with certain types of players at the top level of football, which is something that not many players can do. He is able, at the moment, of course, till his legs fall off and he, stops being able to run properly, like Fernandinho did towards the end of his days. He is a specialist at dealing with the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, Vinicius, those fast, technical, tricky wingers. He's a specialist. He was called upon for both legs of our semi-final against Real Madrid purely because they had Vinicius. Nothing to do with his form, nothing to do with how good he was. It was purely because Real Madrid had Vinicius Jr. and we needed someone who could contain him. So he's a specialist in that regard, and I think anybody would want to have someone like that in their team. But again, we spoke about this with Mbappe in terms of creating friction inside the dressing room with other players who are already established here. With Mbappe, it was more to do with his ego and his wages. With Bayern wanting Kyle Walker with this 2+1 contract, it's going to be more of the older players are just going to feel pissed off because he's getting special treatment and he's never played for a club before. So if that puts them off, please God, I hope it does put them off, because I'd quite like to keep Kyle Walker. I still think he's got a little bit more left to give. I wouldn't be rushing to get rid of him, especially not for 13 million. I think LB said it on Twitter. I think I saw him say that he'd rather just keep him for a year and lose him for free instead of get 13 million for him, because 13 million is not a whole lot of money. And I sort of agree with that. I would rather keep him for a year and lose him for nothing than 13 million, because it doesn't really make sense just for 13 million pounds to lose a player of his ability, of his speciality of what he's good at, over 13 million. Again, I'd rather keep him. It's like I always said that I'd keep Bernardo Silva for as long as possible, even if it means we get a little bit less money. But I'd keep Kyle Walker, even if he runs down his contract, because he's invaluable to what he brings.
LB always says he reckons Kyle Walker could play till he's 38, 39 because he's such an athlete. And even when he does lose his pace, you move him into kind of the right side centre half or right at a back three like he does for England kind of thing, because he is that good at defending. His defensive brain is excellent. And I think Charlotte said on LB's own channel, he said Walker could end up staying. I've heard that too. LB was telling me that earlier on, that apparently Walker is like leaning towards staying or whatever. But listen, that's kind of your Walker update. We'll see how that unfolds. We'll see how Gvardiol unfolds. And we'll see just in general how Mbappe unfolds. I know it's not directly linked to City, but it's just interesting, isn't it, Kylian Mbappe? So I'm up really early tomorrow, people. I'm up at about 4 a.m. I'm going to Manchester. I'm doing the watch along with LB for the Yokohama game. I think we're live at 10 a.m. Kick-off 11. So all of you, make sure you're over on City Extra tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the watch along, myself and LB. I think we're 7 or 8 likes off 100 on this stream. The support the last week from you guys has been absolutely, we're 3 likes off 100 now. The support from you guys this week, you've ramped it up. You've ramped it up a level. Super chats, you've smashed the likes, loads of new subscribers. So big up every single one of you every time for coming in and chatting to me and Joe, and just in general being cool and showing love and having a good chat. Like I said, I'm going to Manchester for I think a week or 4 or 5 days anyway. So my plan is, there won't be streams, obviously, because I'm away, but I'm going to film some videos at the Etihad. I'm going to film some transfer-type videos at the Etihad. I'll send them to Joe. He can upload them onto this channel. Just some cool things. Maybe show you guys around the Etihad. Just general chat. I'll get LB on too, and we'll make some fun content. So listen, big up all of you again. Smash the like on your way out. If you're watching on playback, smash the like button. Share it around. Let's get the community growing, as always. Subscribe if you're new. Joe, will see you when I'm back, because we can stream together then, and keep an eye out, notification bell for the videos that I'll make in the Etihad around Manchester, and it'll be good fun. Listen, thank you all very much. Wrap her up, Joe. See you in a bit.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, you just believe, you just believe, you just believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. 'Cause you